Oh my God. Dear friends, we have breaking news. The fact is that I was planning to come into today's show and talk all about the debate last night. Well, that just blew up about 5 minutes ago when I was alerted as I'm in the middle of planning that guess what? The Jack Smith documents, the 165-page filing, is now unsealed. And we're going to go through it together in real time. Grab your cocktail or your mocktail or your coffee because y'all, we're about to get into some mess. Welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show. Folks, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. The Jack Smith filing has been unsealed by Judge Chunkin. If you remember, right, Judge Chunkin gave Jack Smith an opportunity, the Department of Justice, an opportunity after the Supreme Court decided on July 1st that presidents have complete and total immunity. Judge Chunkin gave Jack Smith the opportunity to go back into his court case. This is all about January 6th and Donald Trump, right? Go back into his court case and see what would or could be possibly covered under this new blanket presidential immunity that the Supreme Court provided for Donald Trump, right? So Jack Smith goes back, then presents her with a 165-page document where, in fact, in that document, he goes through all of the ways in which Donald Trump was not acting in his official presidential capacity during the January 6th riots. We're going to get into things right now. Y'all go get your friends, be in the chat. This is some juicy shit. I am just outdone and yay. So, let me get into it right now with this first clip that we have of Nicole Wallace right now on MSNBC going through where we are. So let's take a listen. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Or quote, at its core, the defendant Donald Trump's scheme was a private criminal effort. In his capacity as a candidate, the defendant used deceit to target every stage of the electoral process, which, through the Constitution, the Electoral Count Act, and state laws, includes the state's notification to the federal government of the selection of their representative electors based on the popular vote in the state, the meeting of those electors to cast their votes consistent with the popular vote, and Congress's counting of the electors' votes at a certification proceeding. At its core, the scheme was a private criminal effort. That feels like one among many of the headlines, Andrew Weissman.
All right. So what we see right now is Nicole Wallace going through. She's about to tap in. Andrew Weissman, we're about to pull up this video now too, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Yes, folks, I know that her name is Judge Chunkin, not Chunkin. I'm moving quickly. Give me some grace. Okay, let's listen to Andrew because this is wild. Wild.
Nicole, I don't like to jump to something that sounds like hyperbole, but there is no question that there are repeated bombshells in this submission. And I cannot tell you that I've finished the 165 pages. Let me tell you why I think this is so devastating. First, the prosecution recounts direct evidence against the former president. Conversations directly with him by lawyers and by Mike Pence himself. At one point, one of the lawyers tells him that there is no proof of any fraud that would be outcome determinative. That claim to the otherwise, or he uses an expletive, says it's BS. He has recounted conversations with Pence himself, describing that the claims of election fraud that the president is making are not true. So this is direct evidence. There also is direct evidence of the president saying, I don't care about the details. I don't care that we would lose in court. And when he's warned that there would be violence on page 8 of the filing, when he's warned that if he continues this, that there could be violence, he says, make them riot. That's a quote. Make them riot, do it. Those are quotes from the submission in terms of the cavalier attitude of the former president in connection with the anticipated violence. And we all could see on January 6th exactly what happened and the violence that ensued.
So here is where we are, right? I mean, this is absolutely extraordinarily wild. Here's the thing. First off, we've been here before. We've heard these bombshells before about Donald Trump. And then guess what happens? A whole lot of nothing, right? We say, we found all these documents. They're in the shitter. We know that he's been sending love notes to Kim Jong-un. Here is that information. And it never goes anywhere. Here's what I'm going to say about this. And folks are asking for the link to the document. I have not downloaded it yet, but I'm going to look for it while we're all chatting today because I've had to throw out what I prepared for today's show in order now to focus on this. So I will find the link and I will drop it in the chat. And if somebody finds it first, please put it in the chat for folks. So here's what I think about this. We're in a really precarious moment, right? This is October 2nd. And guess what, folks? October fucking surprise. In 2016, what was it? It was Hillary Clinton's emails. In 2020, what was it? Donald Trump lying and saying that the election was going to be stolen and rigged. And here we are, October 2nd, also an eclipse. And we have this Jack Smith filing unsealed. So what we understand to be true, this is what is trying to be proved at this time, which is that Donald Trump knew, right, which we understood from the congressional hearings on January 6th. What did we learn? Donald Trump, oh, dear God. And look at this. There's just alerts coming in everywhere. Somebody's going to run behind me to go and see what is happening. This is my life right now. You see someone crawling on the floor. This is what I love. So this is what we know is that Donald Trump knew that folks had weapons, right? He was told folks have weapons. And what did he do on January 6th? He said, take down the magnetrons, right? We were told that Donald Trump was aware that he lost the election, right? It didn't matter. He said in this document, which Jack Smith has unleashed for everybody, and you see the person crawling behind me again. This is wonderful. This is my life. Welcome to it. That you see that Donald Trump was made aware that he lost the election. He said, I don't care, right? This is what is being released right now in this filing. He said, I don't care. He said, he knew that the election was going to be lost. I don't care. We'll handle it. And this is on page 8 that he is saying that he'll take care of it. What does that mean? This is before, folks. This is before. This is when he was seeding the ground in 2020, right? So we understand to be true that Donald Trump, this is what Jack Smith is trying to prove. He knew that he lost the election, but he decided to lie to the American people. That is election fraud. Then Donald Trump also knew that his people were dangerous, that they were armed, and he told them what? And pointed to the Capitol building, go take your country back. He was told that they were armed, and he said, remove the magnetrons. Why? Because they're not here to hurt me. And, you know, folks, I just have to, it is wild. We have this evidence. And this is why I think that this moment is different. Because Jack Smith knows what he's up against with this Supreme Court. The Supreme Court knew where Donald Trump was on January 6th. They understood what presidential immunity was going to mean. Oh, if it's in some vague, capacity as president, then he's fine. When Donald Trump was called and said, They're rioting. They have broken in. Please help us. He was throwing ketchup up against the wall. He was doing the most. He was doing everything other than helping the 140 police officers who were being beat by his fans, as he likes to call them, his sycophants, his folks that he told on the stage with Joe Biden in 2020 to do what, folks? Stand back and stand by. So, thank you, Rebecca, very much. Appreciate you. So, I need to play this, right? Because this is what we also have to remember from last night. And what I appreciate about last night and now how it ended, and we will get to that point. What I appreciate about how we ended, Dressel Up, thank you so much. Appreciate you. I didn't love Tim Walz's performance, but I loved this moment. So take a listen to this and we'll talk about it on the other side, because now that this news has dropped and is breaking right now, this sits even better than it did last night. Take a listen. If it will play. We will see. Will it play? Maybe it won't play, folks. And I'm going to remove it. Something has happened. But I will say this. It is the ad that Kamala Harris put up where Tim Walz looks at JD Vance and says, you know, we may agree on some things, but here's where we're light years apart, which is democracy. Did Donald Trump win the election? Right? Did he win the election? What did JD Vance say last night? He said in response, we're looking to the future. We're looking to the future. What are you talking about? So, thank you so much, Jolyn. So I have to say this, folks, when you're asked a direct question, which, by the way, Trump's campaign manager was asked the same thing on CNBC right after and said, did Donald Trump win the election? Did he lose the election in 2020? And guess what? It was a absolute, we're looking to the future. Thank you so much, Dana. Like, these people cannot be fucking trusted. And that's the thing that we have to understand here, is that they cannot be trusted. Because when asked a blanket real world question, did Donald Trump win the election? The answer is no, he didn't. And then JD Vance went on, folks, and what did he say? There was a peaceful transfer of power. What the fuck are you talking about? So basically, the Republican Party's measure here is don't believe your lying eyes. Believe the words that are coming out of my mouth. JD Vance said, we had a peaceful transfer of power. Joe Biden is the president of the United States. We had a peaceful transfer of power. Folks, there were plumes of smoke coming up over the Capitol building. There were people using Trump flags and the flag of the United States as weapons. So I tell you that I really don't understand how folks would offer that JD Vance did anything last night other than lie. But then I saw headlines like this. JD Vance may be unprincipled, but he is smart and slick. Jonathan Chait, what? Can somebody go collect his journalist degree and put it somewhere where he can't reach it? Because I don't know what trash this is. How can you be unprincipled, folks, and be seen as slick and smart? Oh, he was slick, all right. And he was absolutely unprincipled, but smart? To what? Be able to open up your mouth and lie for 90 minutes? But what we do know is that he has learned from the best. He has learned from Donald Trump. And I'm telling you, this case, this documents case, this is, when you're looking at things where what they're saying right now, in on page 8 of this document, and I'm going to try and Google it and find it and drop it in the chat. They're calling the person who said make them riot, quote, do it, is being referred to as P5, person or individual 5, right? So we don't know if it was Donald Trump that said that, or right now, or if it was staff members. But what we do know is that Donald Trump wanted his people to do anything and everything to steal the election. The best thing that we got out of Congress, right, was the January 6th committee that laid out to us in no uncertain terms the violence that took place on that day. Because leave it to Republicans, they want us to believe that that day never, much like COVID, they want us to believe it never happened. They want us to believe that what we saw that day, the abject violence that had not visited the Capitol, not even during the Civil War, was somehow a normal tourist activity. Josh Hawley, Senator Josh Hawley, remember him with his little white fist in the air, saluting those that were outside of the Capitol building, would then be seen on video running for his life. Right? Mitch McConnell, who would come out on the floor and say that this is all of Donald Trump's fault, would do a two-step a couple of days later and just forget that he said that. Lindsey Graham, good old Lindsey, Lady G, also said, my God, Donald Trump, I cannot believe this. And then would go down to Mar-a-Lago. So, like I said earlier in the week, that the first question that I would have asked JD Vance last night would have been, when you're applying for a job, you usually want to know why the person left prior to you. You're standing on this stage today. Have you had any conversations with Mike Pence? Right? And you're here because Mike Pence isn't, because he decided not to certify the election. And that was one of the good questions that was actually asked last night, which was, would you certify the election? Did JD Vance, did you hear him respond to that direct question? No. He has the job right now because he already swore his oath, not to the Constitution of the United States, but to Donald Trump. And so the thing, as we're kind of going through this news, folks, is that we need to remember how fucking dangerous these people are. And I want to remind you of this, because this is something that stood out for me in 2017, right? And it was this article that was written by Masha Gessen. And they had done this whole breakdown of the rules of surviving autocracy. And one of the things that they said was rule number 2, do not be taken in by signs of normality, right? And I want us to unpack that for a moment, because what we watched last night, friends, was political pageantry, was normal political theater. Oh, look at these two white gentlemen from the Midwest on the stage. They both seem nice and decent and quote unquote clean, except one of them is a rabid fascist and the other one is a football coach. But if you didn't know anything about JD Vance and the outrageous right-wing extremist things that he has said, then you would have saw nothing more than a well-groomed face put on American fascism and white supremacy. And so when Masha Gessen was warning us about what happens as you begin to fall into autocracy, it doesn't, folks, just happen, boom, overnight. It's bite by bite and bit by bit. They write this: most catastrophes unfold over time. Following the shock of a disastrous election or a presidential tweet, the sun rises again in the morning and life appears to proceed as before. One adjusts until, guess what? The next shocking event. Trump has moved faster, assaulting our senses in more ways and more often than and I think most people, they write, expected. These are the things that we need to remember, is that the only difference between what Donald Trump and JD Vance offers is this: stylistic differences. I loved this tweet that I grabbed. One is lies and the other one lies, right? That was the only difference. So when JD Vance is asked a very real question of, would you certify the election? And he deflects. When he's asked, did Donald Trump win the election? And he deflects. Folks, he's giving you all of the answers that you need. These people are not interested in participating in democracy, and yet we continue to move them through these pageants, these performances, and give them an opportunity to just lie to our faces, right? This was one of my favorite moments from last night. Did you all catch this? When when the moderators are saying, just to clarify all the lies that JD Vance continued to tell about the immigrants, in the legal immigrants that are here that are in Springfield, Ohio. And he said, the rules were you guys weren't going to fact check. Who says that but a liar? Right? Like, who actually says that and thinks that that is going to make you look good? But that's exactly what Vance said last night. And everybody saw it. So to me, we're living inside of this moment that feels so absolutely friggin' surreal. It doesn't make sense. In, what is it now? 33 days until the election, 33 days. And on October 2nd, we have just had a 165-page document where we are being told in bold print that Donald Trump incited the insurrection when he saw it get out of control, did absolutely nothing to stop it, and was sitting, eating bonbons, his fucking McDonald's, and watching it unfold. And JD Vance, who once likened him to Hitler, apparently as a compliment, is now his running mate. So, folks, these people will sell out everyone and anything in order to be close to power. There was one clip that I saw yesterday where one of these CNN undecideds, which I don't believe, by the way, I don't believe any of those people are actually undecided. But one of these CNN undecideds, right, says after he listened to the debate and JD Vance was asked the question about the election, was asked the question about January 6th. And he said, but everyone saw it. So I realized then I couldn't trust him, right? Like, he's not going to validate my vote, so I can't actually trust him. Facts. He sold out his wife, right? When the white supremacists are coming for his wife, who is Indian, and his children that are biracial, he went on Fox News and basically apologized for the fact that she wasn't white. He didn't stand with a broad chest and full-throated in defense of his family. Do you think that then he's going to stand in defense of this country? No. Donald Trump tells you to go in there and go do something, The only response that JD Vance is going to give is, yeah, boss, whatever you need, boss. I'll do that, boss. So long as he gets to stand next to him and be on the stage and get a little bit of shine and a little bit of power. This shit is wild that we are here. That people are actually thinking to themselves, well, do I go with the 34 count felon, the adjudicated rapist, the misogynist, the man that tried to overthrow our government and incited an insurrection that got people killed? Or do I go with the Black and Indian woman? I don't know. Women are just so moody. Pun intended. I cannot. I cannot. And I look at this moment that we are in, and I literally feel like I said yesterday, when you're in the end, do you know it's the end? Right? Like when it is the end of days, will it come across the ticker on the bottom and say, like, you are here? Because this is still the type of shit that Donald Trump is putting out. We are crime fighters. They, Kamala and Joe, are crime creators. This is one of my favorite people to follow on the Broke Down site, Twitter, who said, you are a convicted felon, beloved. You are the crime. 1000%. Rebecca, you're so kind. Thank you so much. I'm missing folks because I'm actually like trying to pull things for you. So thank you so very much. I gotta say that we are in a moment, and I don't know about you all. Tell me, do you think, I'm going to ask you this. I honestly want to know. So answer this question in the chat. Do you think that democracy survives? Like, do you think that the handful of people that are deciding this election in the Midwest, does democracy survive? I want to know. Tell me in the chat, because I am really concerned at this moment that all people here are these cases, right? And some people just think that right now the Department of Justice is just weaponized. And and so it's like they're on Earth 2, we're living on Earth 1, but I'm like, how do we pull this back together? And some of you are saying, look, that you think that democracy survives, and I appreciate that. And a lot of you are saying that, which means that you are hopeful, and I love that, and I want to believe that it survives too. And because here's my thinking. I told you this yesterday. I have a knot in my stomach when I'm waking up in the morning, because I keep thinking about the fact that people are they're comfortable, folks. They're comfortable with the lying. They're comfortable with the alternative reality that's been created. Speaking of alternate reality, can you all take a look at, you're going to gasp. Take a look at this photo. This was tweeted by an actual sitting member of Congress. Anyone see anything weird? Anyone? Mike Collins, rabid racist, tweeted this and said, GM, good morning, after the debate today. And then somebody took it and said, he yassified JD Vance, which is just amazing. This is how they see themselves. Like when you see these AI weird, like, pictures of Donald Trump on like Rambo's body, or, like with the animals, and like, folks, it's not just a joke. They're actually trying to alter what we see. We laugh at this, but this is exactly what happens inside of a dictatorship, inside of an authoritarian regime. They make you not trust what it is that you're seeing. We all saw JD Vance last night. He sure as hell does not look like the person on the right. I don't even know who that person is. It's extraordinary to me that this is what a sitting member of Congress, y'all, this was not like a kid that posted this. And so you look at it, and again, they make us think that this type of behavior is okay. And folks, it surely is fucking not. It is wild. And so, oh my God, 30 minutes goes by so quickly. So quickly. But with all of this breaking news, I just don't even know what to do with myself. But we're going to keep digging into the document tomorrow when I've had all the time in the world to actually go all the way through it. But these highlights, what is coming out, the opening videos that I played, this shit is wild. And it's just October 2nd. And we will see how and if it resonates. Because what we know to be true, folks, is that those that are in the bag for Donald Trump are going to be in the bag for them. We're not changing 30 to 40% of the country's mind, which to me is absolutely insane. But then, there is that sliver, right, that may stay home for a whole host of reasons. And we need all of those people, young people, queer people, people of color. We need to show up in the numbers because I told you all at the, beginning of the week, 50% of white women are still down for Donald Trump. 65% of white men are still down for Donald Trump. So if the rest of us who are sane and not sane washing show up in mass, then we have the opportunity to not only save our democracy, but build it back better so that it is inclusive of all people. Build the multiracial democracy that we all actually deserve. I had a song picked out to play us off with today. I don't know if it will play because I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. It's an oldie but a goodie. Let's see if it plays. And if it doesn't, well, say lovey. None of my stuff is playing. No one likes me today. Mercury is in retrograde. Lord only knows. But it was a Fleetwood Mac song. Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. That is how I feel about the debate, friends, and how it went down and everything that is coming out of this 165-page now unsealed document. We will continue to get into it tomorrow. I thank you all so very much for your generosity in giving me the stickers and tips and gifts. It's really appreciated. Why? Because I'm an independent media outlet. So your support, your generosity means a lot and allows me to keep delivering you the kind of news that you absolutely 100% deserve. So if you are liking what you are seeing and hearing, friends, please subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. We had over 300 people show up today. That is incredible. You're making this inaugural week of the Danielle Moodie Show just a fucking time, and I'm loving every minute of it. So I will be back tomorrow. As always, power to the people, and to all the people, power. Get woke and stay woke, stay sane, and stay safe. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Bye.